it's just, I mean, it's scary. I know what you've been through. You're going to speak on it here. I told you guys all before that my grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had it in her heart of not doing radiation, not doing it, don't want any part of it. I had 2 aunts that are nurses, and the doctor convinced her otherwise. Didn't matter what I said, but it was the whole, well, we want you around for a lot longer, so let's get you this radiation that's going to help you in the long run. And then she went from believing in her heart she didn't need it to 3 people in the medical system that don't know the truth. They don't know what you guys know sitting in that chairs, convinced her otherwise, and now she's pumping radiation into her blood. Because clearly she got the cancer due to a lack of radiation and poison in her system. We know that's not the case. So,
yeah, so pretty much everybody here knows I wasn't here last week. My wife woke up at 3 a.m. last Tuesday morning with severe abdominal pain, and she had been peeing blood and had a very high fever. And me at 3 in the morning, I'm awful. Like, I thought she was mad at me, and so I asked her to turn on the lights because I couldn't deal with it. It was horrible. If she hadn't been so sick, I really would be in trouble. But she woke me up again at 6 o'clock after trying to deal with it on her own for a couple hours, and I finally coherently understood like how bad the problem was. Thankfully, they actually do teach us relevant clinical information here in visceral diagnosis. I performed Murphy's punch, and I palpated her abdomen, and she was positive for everything. So her kidneys were going bad. Now I don't know exactly what it was because I adjusted her the first thing and took her to the urgent care facility. Now here's where I don't want anybody to get the wrong thought, because what the American healthcare system does with emergency care is probably one of the most principled things that goes on. They are going into the body and they're removing interference. However, that wasn't our experience in the urgent care facilities. The first 2 places we showed up with, which they were on her insurance page for places that are covered and open and places we should go to in case of an emergency, they were all closed. Their lines were disconnected. They had no forwarding information. Like, we had no clue. These were just the closest places to our house. So we went from the 2 different urgent care facilities that we went to originally to a primary care provider that was in network for us. And he couldn't get us in until 3:30 in the afternoon, no matter what. Like, the guy at the front desk was just a belligerent and wasn't going to let us see anybody. And so we went from there. Fortunately, Kirsten was starting to feel a little bit better at that point. Just BJ instead. And so I was able to leave her with my sister, go and take my geriatrics test, and then go back and take her to a urgent care facility that was actually open. Now we got there and her symptoms had pretty much gone away. When they got her in about half an hour later, there was no longer positive for Murphy's punch. There was nothing on palpation of the abdomen. And so that in itself is a testament to what we have in our hands. You know, the amazing tool that chiropractic is. If we remove the interference, the body's going to start healing itself. Now, this isn't just a story about how amazing chiropractic is and how superior it is to the medical system, because 2 days later she went back to work, and after work she came home with another fever, and it continued to get worse. And so we took her again to the urgent care facility, and first time they prescribed antibiotics, you know, just generally because that's what they do. You know, don't know what's wrong, must be an infection, give it antibiotics. We didn't take them. You know, she doesn't have symptoms, there's no reason to take antibiotics. But it came back and it wasn't getting better with adjusting. So they said, take the antibiotics. You know, all the signs are positive. And, you know, when you're dealing with a limitation of matter, when the body can't heal itself any longer, then you have to go in and you have to do the right intervention. And so she's been taking the antibiotics, and I actually did give her ibuprofen so that she could sleep and her body heal during the sleeping cycle. And so now she's better. She's back at work today. But I thought it was just a relevant time for us to hear what we're up against. Like, not just that the medical community is trying to push us down, but that they're inferior. They don't have what we have. They don't have the power to heal the body. They're trying to bring health from the outside in, and we have the power of the brain. Kirsten would not be back at work today if not for consistent chiropractic care. And now she's also getting probiotics, and there's something called D-mannitol, which helps with urinary tract infections. It's just a sugar-free cranberry juice. But we have to be the doctor. Don't blow off your classes. Don't sit through them and just try to make it through the day. Actually learn something. There's relevant information out there. And last week I would have been the first one to tell you just jump through the hoops and get done what you have to get done. But not only do you have to know this stuff for boards and your final exams and OSCEs, but you have to know this for real life, because your patients are going to be exactly like you. And this is something I want to get into more as we go through the rest of the quarter. But your patients, in being like you, are going to turn to you first, hopefully, knock on wood. They'll come to you before they come to the medical doctor. And if you don't know how to do a Murphy's punch or to palpate their abdomen and know what that indicates and know whether or not you should be taking them to the emergency room or urgent care facility, then people are going to stop coming to you. And in the worst case, they're going to die. And not only don't we want that on our heads, that's completely opposite of what our mission is. Our mission is to relieve sickness and suffering, especially of preventable diseases, and to change the healthcare system in the world, so that when I go to the urgent care facility 20 years from now, that it will actually be a maximized living doctor there who's been trained on urgent cases and knows how to intervene without drugs and surgery, and so that we don't have to come back in 2 days because our only option is antibiotics and there's something going on. That's what I want to